Pleased now to be joined not only, of course, by President Bush, the current President Bush, but by his father. Mr. President 41, welcome.
Thank you, Brett.
I believe this is the first time you two gentlemen have ever been interviewed together.
I think so. Maybe the first time we've been asked to be interviewed together.
Well, we're delighted to have you. Thank you very much.
No, that's not true, but we've just gone our separate ways on these interviews.
In some sense, it has at least seemed that during your son's presidency, that while you guys obviously were in touch of family matters, much to discuss, that apart from that, there wasn't a lot of give and take. Is that true?
Well, that's all it takes for give and take. I mean, you don't need, if you mean, do I calling up Dad? Now, I mean, George, here's what you got to do now on Iraq or something. No, I didn't do that. And we sometimes would talk about policy, but I was determined to stay out of his way and avoid speculation. What's the old guy think? I mean, you don't need that.
Well, now it can be told. Discuss, if you will, both of you, the extent of your consultations on policy and political matters as while you were president.
See, the interesting thing is that a president has got plenty of advisors, but what a president never has is someone who gave him unconditional love. And therefore, when I talked to my dad, I was more interested in the father-son relationship. You got a lot of people who can give you advice, but you rarely have people who can pick up the phone and say, "I love you, son," or "Hang in there, son," and and provide the kind of comfort that a president needs on occasion.
You have said that when your father was president, particularly toward the end, rough year politically, 1992,
yeah,
that hurt you more than it seemed to hurt him. Is that true?
Well, I said that being the son of the president was a lot harder than being the president.
And how about being the father of the president?
Tough at times. Only when you see criticism you know is very unfair. But I tried not to speak up. It might just exacerbate the problem for him. But when I saw things I knew were grossly unfair in the press, in the print, anywhere, it hurt. It hurt Barbara and it hurt me. But it's better not to go forth and sally forth and try to take the offense.
Well, did it hurt you more than the criticism that you took as president?
I think it hurt more, yeah.
Do you feel that way too, that it hurt you more?
Absolutely. Gosh, I was furious. I got the reputation...
About stuff about him?
Yeah, I got the reputation of being slightly hot-headed at times, and, you know, it was an accurate characteristic, because I was ready to duke it out when I saw people say things that were unfair about Dad. And the other thing that's interesting is, though, I can remember calling he and Mom and saying, "Don't worry about me." In other words, I knew that they were taking on, the anxiety, and I knew what it was like to have somebody you love being hammered in the press. And so I spent a fair amount of time, as I recall, calling and saying, "Look, don't worry about me. Things are going to be fine. My spirits are good. Laura's doing great." I think people sit out there and say, "Oh, they must have had some kind of, relationship that is very clinical and, very advisory type stuff." But this is a loving relationship. This is, he's the head of a fabulous family. And whether it be me as the president or Jeb as the governor or Neil, Marvin, and Darrow, Dad's phone calls are not, "You must do this or that." His phone calls are, "I love you," and it's very powerful.
Now, your son is races days away from having been run. How do you regard his presidency?
Very positively. And I think,
why?
I think history will, well, because he can make a tough decision and stay with it. I mean, he's been tested unlike any other president with this 9/11. So he passed the test.
He can be just great too. He was almost too humble to be president. And when history finally gets objective, they will be able to say a lot of positive things about George Bush. I cannot worry. I tell people I'm still reading biographies of George Washington or analyses of his presidency, and if they're still writing about the first guy, the 41st guy and the 43rd guy simply don't need to worry about it.
We won't be around to worry about it, that's for sure.
Now, I see you getting around now on a cane, and is that a condition that's going to get better in your judgment? You're going to be, is this a remnant from one of your hip operations, or what do you got going there?
This is what they call old age.
I understand about that myself.
No, it's no pain, no hip, no. I think I have an imbalance that came from a back operation.
Oh.
Let me ask you something. Is it true that you said publicly that you're going to jump out of the airplane again?
True. But that doesn't take anything but just going up there with some big, strapped onto some big golden knight or someone, and it's a thrill.
You're going to have trouble convincing Mother of that.
No,
How about
no.
you? What do you think about that? You want him to do
I
that?
think he's a nut to jump out of an airplane at age 70, 75, 80, and 85. I find it, actually, I think it's cool.
I told you the reasons, though. You don't want to sit around just because you're an old guy drooling in the corner. And secondly, you want to send a message out to around the world, actually, because of the prominence of the presidency, that you can still do stuff. Old guys can still do stuff, get involved in things.
You can drool and jump at the same time.
That's right.
Now, you're in Houston. You've chosen Dallas.
Yes.
What's up with that?
Well, I want to be close to SMU.
I got it.
And that's where our policy center / library / archives are going to be.
You okay
You have
with
a
that?
Dallas connection.
Did you hope that he'd come to Houston?
Huh?
Did you hope that he'd move to Houston when he
No, I never thought he would move to Houston.
Plus, Houston's 2 hours away from, Dallas is 2 hours away from Crawford. And I plan on spending some time down there in Crawford.
And Laura had some Dallas connections, so
Yeah.
it made sense.